Welcome to a new fragrance review. Today we're gonna start part 2 of the 40 most used fragrance ingredient. So if you haven't seen the other parts, or at least the part 1, basically what I'm doing is I'm having some little bottles that I'm not sure I'm gonna show it all the time, which have the 40 most used ingredient in perfumery, and they are all diluted in alcohol in different concentration. Some are aroma chemical and some are natural ingredients, and doing them in alphabetical order. That little kit comes from a company called Perfumery Apprentice. They have a bunch of stuff. It's not sponsored or anything. It's just I thought it could be interesting to go with this. They sell stuff for people that make perfume, and one of the things they sell is that little kit to analyze the notes. And I thought it would be interesting to do a video where I analyze that. The last video was pretty long, so I'm happy I'm doing this in 5 parts. So we're gonna start with cassis, and I'm having it in my aroma chemical, but I actually think that it's an essential oil. Anyway, I don't have any fragrance to tell you like that it's a famous fragrance that I know that has it. In the example that they give, there's many women's fragrance. There's Le Monde est Beau by Kenzo, and one that I know the fragrance is Silences by Giacomo. It smells really green, like an herbal and really fruity. I'm not sure I ever ate cassis, but it smells like what you would imagine, like the whole plant would smell like. A cassis, it's a little fruit that grows in a tree, like those little fruit that grows in all the tree that you can see everywhere in the cities. In fact, I think it really smells a lot like clover. The note description is herbal and fruity. Next ingredient, it's civet, and civet, it exists as a natural ingredient, but most of the time now it's an aroma chemical that is used, and basically it's like the pee of the animal, of the civet cat, and like what they use to mark their territory or when they are excited. That is used in perfumery. Now, as I said, now it's more aroma chemical, and also is not a note that is really used often nowadays. And it's also one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful note in the whole kit. I can already smell it here. I do have a little bottle that is the full civet essence and not like diluted. And when it's not diluted, it's really smell like cat pee. But like this, it's diluted. It's not doesn't smell like cat pee at all. I would say that it smells animalic. It's hard to explain what really animalic means, but some kind of sweet, like in a pet shop a little bit. Yeah, this is how I can explain it. It smells a little bit like inside of a pet shop. So there's no real known fragrance that is put into the book, but I know there's many fragrances that you might know that have civet. The one example that come in my mind right now is 900 by Aramis. Might not be the best example. I think that Kouros have civet also into it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think there is. Usually it's old school powerhouse, like 70s powerhouse that will have those fragrance. Usually, doesn't mean it's the only fragrance that have it, but this is where you will see it most often nowadays, in those old school fragrances. In the book, it says the note description is powerful and animalic. Next ingredient is Kermeron. I'm not sure I pronounce it well in English, but Kermeron is actually one of the ingredients that is still used and used a lot in fragrance. This ingredient, maybe you could find an exception, but most always used into fougère fragrance. It's actually one of the thing that created the fougère. The first fougère, which is Fougère Royale by Houbigant, is the first company that ever made a fragrance with a synthetic molecule, and the synthetic molecule was Kermeron. To add a little bit of context on Kermeron, it's an aroma chemical that is taken from tonka bean. So this one is way softer. The example they are showing is also Fougère Royale by Houbigant. There's a little picture, but it's so small and I know it's a picture from a fragrance of Caron because they all have the same bottle. I'm not quite sure which one it is. But in the end, just look at your fragrance collection. I'm sure you have one that has Kermeron. If you look at the back and in the ingredient, you're probably gonna find it. So it smells a little bit like tonka bean. It's kind of sweet, bit sugary. In the note description, it says sweet new mown hay and tonka bean. And I would say that I get the new mown hay, but it's though mine might not be super good neither. Soft, kind of tonka bean. It's not creamy at all, like vanilla, tonka bean, all those notes could be, and that's about it. Next ingredient, it's dihydromyrcenol, and this one is used in many fragrances. It's used a lot into cool water. It's probably the fragrance that has the most dihydromyrcenol into it. It says that there's 20% in the mix. To go with other stuff that you might know, Dracar Noir has a lot of it too. So this is fresh and really clean. This with maybe some musk or some other ingredient in cold water is probably what contribute to it smelling like laundry detergent a little bit. I would say it's almost ozonic. It's a bit citrusy. The note description says it's cologne, sweet citrus, soft lavender aspect. Next ingredient, we're gonna go back into natural ingredient, and it's frankincense or olibanum. They all give a different name, like to give an idea, not the note description, but just another name to give you an idea what it is. And this one says it's the scent of antiquity. It says that it's used a lot in Opium by Yves Saint Laurent. I'm not sure if it's the one for men or for women. It's the old bottle that they are showing. It was made in 1977, so you can take a look. It smells woody and peppery. When I first smell it, there's some perfume that it reminds me of a little bit that are not necessarily example of that note, but Tom Ford Noir Anthracite, Club de Nuit en Semaine reminds me, not the fragrance, but their like specific part. You know, if you smell Noir Anthracite and if you smell Club de Nuit en Semaine, if you find like a note, a similarity in between, even though they're like completely different, but if you find one thing that is like similar in those two, it is. I'm not sure if there's frankincense in either of them, but the feel of that note of that ingredient is what it gives. The note description, it says old wood, incense, spicy, woody. And I don't get any incense really. It's not quite spicy. Probably with other notes, other ingredient, it can improve the smokiness. But old wood, I would say, it smells like some plank of wood that is really old by time, and some peppery wood. So that's how I would describe it. Next ingredient, it's Galaxolide, which is, I think, the most used ingredient in perfumery in the whole world right now. And I'm not talking about fine perfumery, I'm talking about perfumery as a broad thing, like laundry detergent and soap for the hands, and like everything that has a smell added to it. I think it's probably what is the most used. First of all, it's cheap, and second, it smells good. So I would assume that's why. So it smells for a long time. It's especially used in laundry detergent and maybe the little bounce sheet. I don't know how to call that, that kind of sheet, but you know, the little thing you put in the dryer. It's really soft, and it doesn't smell like laundry detergent or those little bounce sheet. But if you smell those things that I just said, part of what it smells, you're gonna be able to pick up Galaxolide. The best way I could describe the smell is that it smells like when you just did the laundry and you're folding the clothes, and you have the big pile of stuff that you're folding. It makes like air and going all around you. This is what it smells, and I would say that it's most likely gonna smell the same thing because it's actually what you're smelling when you're doing this. The note description is fresh air, clean laundry light. And the one example, no, there's many examples. There's Trésor by Lancôme that have a lot of it, and there's Parfum Sacré by Caron, and those has Galaxolide into it. There are other fragrances that for me obviously have galaxolide, but not necessarily, because there's many other molecules that smell similar, so maybe it's not galaxolide. But Dior Sauvage Eau de Parfum have a strong galaxolide note for me, or at least musk note. As a modern fragrance, that will be the best example, even though it might not be specifically galaxolide, maybe something else. And that something else will be not the next note, but the one afterward. Before going into another musk, we're gonna go in with galbanum. Galbanum, which is a natural ingredient. It says that it's used in Chanel 19 or Chanel number 19 and a bunch of older fragrance. One fragrance that you might know that has galbanum into it, really heavy dose, it's gray flannel. And there's a little scent that is off-putting. That is, for me, it's what it is. Personally, I think it smells good. This one is really strong on the paper, so when I smell it, just a little whiff, it kind of overwhelmed my nose, but still it smells nice. It smells like, you know, those fields that are full of bad herbs and all muddy, that sometimes it's like in a city that there's one little land that is not having construction yet, or maybe it's like close to a place you'll deeply running or something. That's what it smells. It smells herbal. That doesn't smell really floral, but it smells like those herbs, like in summer, but like in a really intense way, like if you would take this and kind of breathe that of the outside. It says that it's green, woody, fresh, and earthy, and I would agree with everything. I would say another thing that it smells, it's like the woodiness is not like wood, it's more like, you know, like those herbs that I was talking about, when they're getting dry, some of them are kind of almost hard as wood, you can break them. I don't know if you have those kind of plant, and if you know what I'm talking about, it smells like those things, which might even be galbanum. Last one, an ingredient that is also used for the same purpose as galaxolide, but this one is used more in fine perfumery than in other kind of perfumery, and it's Abanolide. Personally, I prefer Abanolide than galaxolide. I think the smell is more powerful, so it's a bit easier to use. Also, the consistency, you might not like care about this, but the consistency of galaxolide and the one of Abanolide is really different. Galaxolide is really thick, is a bit more hard to use, and Abanolide is a bit more easier to use. It makes me like Abanolide more. This one smells a little bit like what galaxolide smells, but it doesn't have that little laundry-like smell. It's just sweet. It smells like, it's hard to describe what musk smells like. Kind of creamy without any cream or anything. Like, I don't know how to describe this one. It's a hard one to describe, but it smells nice. I haven't said in what it was used. The example, it says it's Salvatore Ferragamo pour Homme, and it says that it's also used in Bulgari for Men and Hypnotic Poison by Dior. And the note description is sweet, musky, and waxy. I would say that the waxy is probably their way to explain my way to say creamy without the cream. I don't think it smells like wax, but yeah, it's creamy, waxy, kind of hard to describe really, but that's what it is. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you think it's really interesting, and if you know any of these, now tell me which one you already knew before or any of these ingredients. If you have any comment, write it in the comment. I'd be really happy to hear from you. So thanks for watching.